Hey guys, it's me, Stanley, coming again with another YouTube video. This is the AEW Dynamite for yesterday, 3/9/22. So it said the regular AEW Dynamite cold open video packing theme plays, and then we shoot inside for the arena for tonight's post-revolution edition of weekly AEW on TBS program. Then we have Chris Jericho, Jack Hager, which is Jack Swagger on WWE, and Team 2.0. They beat down Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. From there, the familiar sounds of Chris Jericho drew him on mind plays, and the crowd began singing along with it as he makes his way down to the ring for tonight's opening segment. He begins by talking about his match against Eddie Kingston at the pay-per-view this past weekend. He said even though he lost, he's still considered one of the best matches of his career. Jericho goes on to mention how he didn't keep his word and shake Kingston's hand after the loss. He said it's a rare example of him not being a man of his word. With that in mind, he asked Kingston to come out so he can make things right and shake his hand now per the agreement. The theme song from Mad King hits and out he comes to join Jericho in the ring. He entered the ring and tells the production people in the back to cut his music off. He talks about how he needed to win the match and that his handshake was for Jericho. He said something is missing inside Jericho. He talks about respecting and looking up to the old Chris Jericho. Jericho responded by saying thank you to him as well. He said he would be honored if he shook his hand per their pre-match agreement. Now, Jericho then extends his hand and the two shake hands. Before anything else can happen, the theme for 2.0 and Daniel Garcia hits, and the trio makes their way down to the ring, immediately starting attacking Jericho and Kingston. Garcia goes right after Kingston, and while Team 2.0 beats Jericho down, they join up on Kingston, and then Santana and Ortiz run down and help clear the ring of them. They hold Garcia and then hand Jericho the bat, and Jericho pauses then blasts Santana with the bat. He then does the same to Ortiz, and then Team 2.0 and Garcia and Jericho all group up together and beat them down. Jack Hager runs down, looks upset at what he's seeing. He seemed to not want to do so, but he begrudgingly decides to join in on the beatdown. Now we got Jericho, Hager, Team 2.0, and Garcia all working together and beating down Eddie Kingston, Santana, Ortiz with the bat. The guys help Hager hoist Kingston up, and then they do a huge powerbomb that sends the Mad King through a table and sets up on the floor. At ringside, Jericho get back on the mic for one final message about that being entertainment and crawling the new group, the Jericho Appreciation Society. Then we have an AEW World Championship match. Adam Page, who is the champion, versus Dante Martin. Dante Martin theme hits and out comes the Top Flight member for a big title match that kicks off the action inside the ring on this week's show. He settles into the ring and his music fades down. Now the theme music for the AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page plays, and he makes his way out and settles in the ring. The two shake hands, and then the bell sounds to get this one off and running. We see some back and forth action, and then Page starts to take over control of things a bit. Martin ends up hitting a dropkick that slows him down, then blasts him with repeat shots where Hangman starts a no-sale. Martin springboards off the ropes and splashes into Page. The momentum from the splash takes him down. However, Page rolls through it and brings Martin up in the air. He slams him down, then clothesline him out to the floor, and we head to a mid-match commercial break. We return from the break, and we see the action still in progress. Martin is still dominating things when we return, and things stay this way for a couple minutes. Finally, Page shifts the momentum in his favor and quickly hits the buckshot lariat. The champ's finisher turns Martin inside out, and he scores the pin to retain the championship. Winner and still your AEW World Champion, Hangman Adam Page. Then after the match, Adam Cole confronts Page. Once the match wraps up, Scorpion to enter the ring for a post-match interview. He congratulates Page on the victory. Then he brings up the title defense over Adam Cole at the AEW Revolution pay-per-view from this past weekend. Page stops Martin and tells him to get his ass back in the ring. He proceeds to give him props for giving him a tough fight. Then said if he ever works his way back to the number one contender spot, he would be honored to share the ring with him again. From there, we hear someone off camera saying, "Please shut up, out come Adam Cole." He talks about giving Page all he can handle at Revolution, then said he got a fluke win over Adam Cole. Now he goes on to challenge Page to a rematch and tells him he wants him next week. But this time, when his people by his side, he said he will not stop until he gets what he wants, and which is to hear the words "and new AEW World Champion." They then go to another commercial break. Then it's Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley with William Regal. Oh, if you guys didn't know that William Regal is All Elite, he's now in AEW. So versus the Workhorsemen, Mox kicks things off for his team, and Drake kicks things off for his. Moxley began beating down Drake with ease early on, then gets him in his team's corner and stomps him at him. Mox then tagging Danielson, who picks up where he left off, blasting Drake with kicks. Drake tags in Henry. Henry immediately finds himself on the defensive with Danielson, who reportedly kicks away at him as well. Danielson then hits Henry up in a surfboard submission. He cranks away at it and then tags Mox back in. Moxie ends up getting caught off guard by Henry, who follows up with a drop kick off the top rope. He then tags Drake to back in. Drake and Mox go nose-to-nose and trade shots. Mox blasting with an open-handed slap. He beats him down, then tags in Danielson, who gets him in his submission finisher. So the winners is Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. Then after the fight, Tony Schiavone interviews William Regal. Once he started talking to William Regal about how it's been years since he's seen him. Regal tells Scorpion that he never thought he'd get to do this again. He says it's been 29 years since he's been on TBS with him doing an interview. He goes on to talk about fighting against demons with himself and outside forces throughout the years, and then cracks a joke at Scorpion's suit being crumbly looking. Now he mentions Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson as being two of his pupils. He gets emotional when bringing up Scorpion, helping him early in his career. He said that enough of being nice and brings up time being a factor. He said someone told him about Bryan Danielson, mentioned him on TV recently. He then heard about Danielson fighting Jon Moxley. Regal brings up that it's been so long since he came to the United States, and notes that anyone from today's fan base that is familiar with him probably heard about him because of Danielson constantly giving him credit for helping him. He said that his main goal is to help people become better in the sport of pro wrestling. He said Danielson is a wrestler he should have been. He called Danielson the perfect wrestler. He brings up how they would train together with a group of aspiring talent, and then when he left, they would stay together all hours of the night learning and getting better at their craft. From there, he briefly mentioned his past with Mox and then vows that the two will be stepping on anyone who gets in their way. Then we have Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order talk backstage. Alex Marvez standing with the Dark Order when Hangman Adam Page walks up and greets them. John Silver asks which ones from the group Page is going to team with next week. Page mentioned that he just bumped into Jurassic Express backstage. Then we have another match, Pac, which is Neville from WWE, versus Wheeler Yuta. We head back inside the arena and hear the theme for the best friend. Wheeler Yuta makes his way to the ring, accompanied by other members of the group. He settles into the ring, and then his music fades and the theme for Pac hits, and out come the Bastard for the next match of the evening. The bell sounds and we're off and running with this one. Pac jumps off to an early offensive lead as we head to a mid-match commercial break. We return from the break to see Pac fighting his way back into the match. He ends up getting his brutalizer submission on him and gets a tap-out win in a quick match. Your winner is Pac. Then we have Cutler, Cam, Adam Cole, Red Dragon, and Young Bucks. The Cutler Cam segments to get started with Cole talking about the match set up earlier tonight for next week. The Young Bucks end up cutting him off and says with Orange Cassidy and Hangman Page that they can count them out. Cole said he wasn't going to pick them anyway, said he will have the Red Dragon with them. The Red Dragon is Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and I forgot the other dude's name, but yeah. What's it? Bill? Some. Whatever. But yeah, the trio walks off while the Young Bucks they go to another commercial break after that. Then Alex Marvez standing by backstage with FTR, which is the Revival, and Tully Blanchard. They talked about being the same team as always. Then Tully cuts them off. Tully then talks about how they used to be all about winning the tag team titles, not their families. They end up getting annoyed with Tully and said this is about family. They didn't tell Tully that he's fired. Tully Blanchard, I think he's the father of Tessa Blanchard. But yeah. Then we have a AHFO is having a board meeting. Matt Hardy talks about hers about how Andrade El Idolo wants to fire him. He said every time he wears a suit, he turns to an asshole. He said Andrade should know what that's about. Andrade then responds, talks about how it's time to handle their business. Hardy said, let's get this over with and get a vote. He said that he knows that his boys' private party aren't going to vote him out. They do the vote initially. Private party votes for Hardy, but then when he turned around, they put their thumb down. Andrade tells him, in this business, you always have to have someone watching your back. Did lead to private party. The Butcher, Blade, and Andrade El Idolo all beating down Hardy together. As the beatdown continues, we hear some music and finally out come Darby Allin and Sting. The numbers game ends up being too much for them as well, and all three are being beat down. We hear the familiar sounds of Jeff Hardy theme. So Jeff Hardy is All Elite, so he's in AEW right now. So the crowd erupts as Jeff Hardy emerges from the back and heads to the ring. The charismatic Enigma ends up taking them all out by himself. The fans go nuts with Hardy chants. Hardy heads to the top, and the strange Enigma, as JR refers to him on commentary, comes flying off with his trademark Swanton Bomb. He hugs Matt, and the duo stand across from Darby and Allin and Sting and look at each other as Jeff's music plays again. Then we have Tony Nese confront Shane Swerve Strickland. We shoot backstage where Tony Schiavone is standing by with another newcomer to AEW, Shane Swerve Strickland. Shane Swerve Strickland is Isaiah Swerve Scott of Hit Row when he was in WWE. Now he's in AEW, so it's going to be Shane Swerve Strickland. He talks about making his debut in AEW at Revolution. Before he can say much of anything else, up walks Tony Nese to interrupting him. Nese challenged him to a match at Rampage later this week. Strickland said he was wondering who was going to be the first person to interrupt his promo on AEW. He then agrees to the match against Nese at Rampage this coming Friday night. He does his Swerve House routine, and we head to another commercial break. Then we have Wardlow comes out to welcome the face of the Revolution. So he's the face of Revolution, Wardlow. Tony Schiavone is standing in the ring and said it's time to welcome the face of Revolution. On that note, the winner of the face of Revolution ladder match at AEW Revolution this past Sunday night, Wardlow makes his way out. Wardlow heads to the ring as Caliber talks about his impressive and impactful showing at the pay-per-view over the weekend, noting that he won the aforementioned ladder match and also played a big factor in a dog collar match by misplacing the Dynamite diamond ring, which is what led to CM Punk beating MJF. Scorpion brings up the finish of the dog collar match and then mentions that how he's still signed to a contract with MJF. Wardlow talks about how he spent the first years of his career in AEW helping someone else achieve his dream. He's referring to MJF. He then says it's time to achieve his own. He said he grew up poor and watched his mother, who has a heart of gold, struggle to help raise himself and his sisters. He then goes on to mention how that's what drove him into the wrestling business. He said MJF was his way of getting his foot in the door in AEW. He said MJF did pay him a lot of money and helped him get established in AEW. He says none of that, however, gave him the right to disrespect him or threaten their family. He said it sure as hell don't give him the right to put your hands on them. He said that when MJF smacked him, he set his fate. He said that Revolution, his actions in the dog collar match were to let MJF and everyone else know he's no longer watching his back. He said he's no longer part of the Pinnacle and claims he is finally free. Willow talks about how he wants out of his bullshit contract with MJF. He makes his go clear. He wants the TNT Championship. He said now AEW is now officially Warlord World. His music hits again to end the segment. Then we have Keith Lee and Marvez. It's then we shoot backstage where Alex Marvez is standing by with Keith Lee and Q2 Marshall. Marshall tells Keith Lee that he sees why they call him Limitless. Marshall goes on to mention how he helped train Hook and then say he's aware of Lee's issue with Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Stark. Marshall tells Lee he and Factory have his back. Lee said he got a big enough back and assures him he's fine, and on his own, he walks up at Marshall and yells that he will pay for this. Then we have the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, Jurassic Express versus the Acclaimed. Jungle Boy looks to keep the momentum going. However, some interference from the Bowens on the floor at ringside leads to the Acclaim taking over control of this action. Excalibur talks us into a mid-match commercial break. As the match continues, when we turn from the break, we see the two teams going at it with fast-paced offense. The Acclaim try and use a boombox in sneaky fashion. However, Luchasaurus stops him and shifts the momentum back in the favor of Jurassic Express. Later on, we see Bowens nearly benefit from a cheap shot from Caster with the chain wrapped around his hand. Christian Cage ends up stopping that from happening. This sets up Jurassic Express to hit their top rope double team finisher for the pinfall victory. Winners and still AEW Tag Team Champions Jurassic Express. Then we have we shoot to a special match from the TBS Women's Champion Jade Cargill. We see Jade Cargill and Mark Sterling standing together talking about how it's not who's next, but it's who's left. Jade then issues the open challenge for anyone who wants her beautiful kiss of death to step up. Then we have legit Layla Hirsch versus Thunder Rosa. With both women ring the bell sounds and we offer running with this one, Rosa hands herself well, giving Layla all she can handle, including on the mat, where Hirsch is exceptional. When we turn from the break, we see Rosa dominating the action. This continues for a while. Then when Hirsch gets thrown to the floor, we see her take the patent off the turnbuckle. In the corner, Red Velvet runs out and picks it up and tells Hirsch she's not going to get away with it. Back in the ring, we see a big near finish with a submission. After that, Rosa hits her finisher and scores the pinfall. She will now challenge for the women's title once again. Your winner and new #1 contender to the AEW Women's Championship is Thunder Rosa. Then we have a steel cage title match announced for next week. Tony Scorpion stands up from his booth and brings up the lights out match from this past being a memorable classic. Now we are informed that Rosa would challenge for the AEW Women's Championship against Britt Baker on next week's show in a steel cage match. Then we have Britt Baker backstage reacting to the match. She talks about how they put in a cage to keep all of her friends out of the ring, but Rosa will have all of San Antonio with her. She then said Jamie Hayter is going to finish Mercedes Martinez on Rampage this week and ensures she's not afraid of Rosa. She's afraid if someone like her would Carney Riffraff become the champion. Baker then said Rosa might have got the pin in a memorable lights out match that she would just mention. She said it might get the pin, but Baker is the one who will go on to achieve success. Then we have the last match of the night, which is for the TNT Championship, Sammy Guevara versus Scorpion Sky. Sammy hits a back heel flip kick to Sky that puts him down. He follows that up by springboarding from ring apron to the top rope for a flying cutter. He goes on for the follow-up pin attempt. However, Sky kicks out at 2.5. Sky goes for the TKO, but Sammy counters and hits a GTH finisher. He can't go for the pin because Sky rolls out to the floor. Sammy Guevara goes for a shooting star press when Sky rolls back into the ring. However, he got his knees up in time, so both guys are down. Conti and Ethan Page are shown bickering at ringside. Then out of nowhere, Paige Van Zant attacks her from behind. Sammy's up back in the ring. However, she is focused on the Paige Van Zant and Conti brawl outside the ring. And if you guys didn't know, Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti are going out. So, yeah. So he's focused on the Paige Van Zant and Conti brawl outside the ring. This allowed Sky to hit his finisher and score the pinfall victory. We now have a new TNT champion, and his name is Scorpio Sky. So after the match, Paige Van Zant signs with AEW. Once the match wraps up, we see Sky celebrating with his title in the ring as the commentators talk about him having the distinction of being the only man to hold the TNT Championship and the AEW Tag Team Championships. Now we see the rest of the men of the year and Dan Lambert join him in the ring, as well as Paige Van Zant. She pulls out a piece of paper, which the commentator informed us is an AEW contract. Paige Van Zant signs it and celebrate with the rest of the group. That's how the week show wraps up. So, yeah, guys, that is the AEW Dynamite, results for, yesterday, the 3/9/2022. So, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to my channel, like my videos, comment my videos. You guys have a really good day. I know this is a long video, it's like almost 22 minutes. But I just wanted to tell you guys everything that happened on AEW last night. So, I know this channel is specifically for WWE, but I just wanted to let you guys know about AEW. Jeff Hardy is AEW All Elite. William Regal All Elite. So, yeah, guys, peace out. Bye.